public defender is an attorney employed by the community and responsible for giving legal aid without cost to any person who seeks it and is financially unable to employ private counsel. It is his duty to defend those accused of crime until the issue is decided in a court of law. The first public defender's office in the United States was opened in January 1913. Over the years, other offices were opened. And today, that handful has grown to a network of lawyers cooperating to protect the rights of our clients. There's another side to the public defender's work. Petty claims, hundreds every day, and often so bewildering to the people involved it can lead to serious crime. Just as his name implies, Big Eddie McGowan was a big man who worked on the high steel, who took 1,000 chances and never thought anything of it. There seemed nothing Eddie couldn't do. He bulged with muscle and with health for 32 years. Never a sick day in his life.
Hi, Eddie. How'd it go?
Goes good, Jono. But I'm sure glad this day's over.
Yeah, me too. Hey, stop off with me and I'll buy a beer.
Thanks. That's one you owe me. I've only got another 25 minutes to get some shopping done.
More presents for Greta and the girl?
Not this time. Getting some stuff for Eddie Jr.
Yeah? What kind?
You know, the kind of stuff that any American boy should have. Especially mine.
Well, you go out and meet him, Kathy, will you? I'll be right out. Hi,
Daddy. Hi, young lady.
What have you got there?
Got a few things for your brother. Where's your mother?
Hello, darling. Eddie, what did you buy out now?
You know that sporting goods store across the new building?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, they got a big sale on. 50% off.
Well, what is it?
It's a catcher's mitt. Baseball glove.
Oh, and you think Eddie Jr. knows how to use it?
Prize fighters train on these things.
Oh, Ed. Well,
where is the young man? Doesn't he want his presents?
He's in his room. Just had a bath. But I'll get him for you.
Go on, Slugger. Hey, remember what your old man told you? Thumb on the outside. Ah, that's good. Well, hiya, big guy.
Here we are.
Whoa! There's my baby. Hiya, honey. Hiya, honey.
Oh, Eddie, you are the biggest, most wonderful fool a boy ever could have for a father. And we love you for it. Oh, I'll get it.
Please let me go.
You stay here, young lady, and drink your milk.
Eddie, they're here.
Special delivery.
Oh, boy, I've been waiting for these. Eddie Jr.'s first shoes.
Oh,
They look like gold.
well, they're bronze, honey, but this way they'll last forever.
What are you going to do with him?
Well, what do you think, kiddo? I'm going to hang him up in my car for luck. Your old man's not so old he can't be like them hot rodders.
Your husband's going to be all right, Mrs. McGowan. There's no question now.
Oh, are you sure? Are you?
But of course, these compound pelvic fractures respond slowly. They take time. Time and plenty of care.
Oh, I will take care of him, Doctor.
I'm sure of that. You must understand it'll be some time before you'll be able to walk again. He'll be in a wheelchair.
A wheelchair? Oh, no. Not my Eddie. You should be happy today. After 5 weeks, you're back with your family again.
Where you can wait on me hand and foot.
Where we can wait on you hand and foot because we love you. And we want to help you get well.
Help? The man you married didn't need help. He could take care of you, himself, and 30 kids to boot.
Well, and you will again. Soon.
Soon enough, I suppose. But you said yourself the money was all gone.
We'll have money because, well, tomorrow I start looking for work.
You go to work?
Well, we'll just be exchanging jobs. While you stay home watching the children, I'll take over your job. And your little wife becomes, how do you say, the breadwinner.
No.
Oh, Eddie, but it won't be for good.
You work. What can you do?
Oh, when we first met in the old country, you were a GI, remember? Well, what was I doing then?
I know, but that was different. That was war work.
All right, so that was war work. But before that, like millions of others in Europe, I started working in factories when I was 12. Aren't you happy with your GI bride? Now, Eddie, remember what the doctor said about the lamp. It helps, so you be sure to use it.
$64, it should help.
Whatever it costs, it helps. And we didn't pay it all at once.
That money should have gone for clothes for the kids.
Oh, they're doing fine, Eddie. We all are.
Hey, it's 1/4 up. You'll miss your bus.
That's all we need. Come late and Mr. Jason will deduct from my check.
A couple more weeks, we can both tell Jason to go jump.
All right. Bye.
Just a minute, Mrs. McGowan. This came for you yesterday afternoon, just after you left.
A garnishment, Mr. Jason? What does it mean?
It means you don't pay your bills. Your paycheck's been attached. That's what it means. And I don't like it.
We don't pay our bills. Oh, no, sir. I telephoned everybody after Eddie was hurt, and I told them.
I haven't time for excuses. Get this thing fixed up, or rest.
No telling what might have happened if a fellow worker hadn't told Greta of her rights and about the public defender. In spite of her deep-seated mistrust of anything to do with the law, despite her own panic and confusion, Greta joined the dozens of others sitting, waiting to tell problems equally as alarming to an understanding deputy. 3 times as many each year come to the public defender because of civil suits as come because of some crime. It was my good fortune to get the McGowan case. And it was in my office that I first met Greta and heard her story.
What do you want me to do now, Mr. Matthews?
Go back to work. And once we've checked the obligations you've given me and the other information, I don't think we'll have any trouble getting a court order releasing your check because of hardship.
Please, Mr. Matthews, you'll find out I tell you the truth. The day after Eddie has his accident, I call everyone. I tell them we pay. Pay slow, maybe, but we pay. And then this.
Whatever you do, don't worry. I will go to work at once, and you'll be hearing from us, well, tomorrow morning if everything goes all right.
Mr. Matthews.
I haven't seen a woman that frightened since my first year on the bench, Bart.
That was a long time ago, wasn't it? You know, I'm sure glad that you came with us when you retired, Judge.
Thanks. Never mind me. What about that poor soul?
couple of kids. Husband had a bad auto accident, can't work. She took a job to help pay the bills, and boom, someone slaps an attachment on her paycheck.
Can I help?
You sure can. Go over these bills, will you? They're the usual things. And if what she says is true, get Judge Bowen to sign a court order releasing her check.
Mm-hmm.
And do it fast, will you, Judge, before it's too late? I'd like to see Mr. Jason, please.
I'm Leo Jason. Is there anything I can do for you?
Well, I'd like to see Mrs. McGowan for just a minute, if it's all right with you, sir.
Mrs. McGowan doesn't work here anymore.
Oh, something wrong?
Plenty wrong. I can't give jobs to people who can't pay their bills. I don't hire deadbeats.
I see. I suppose you took the time to find out why she owes the few dollars she does?
I'm not running a kindergarten here. I pay my bills without making any excuses. Hard cash on the barrelhead.
But being in business, if you happen to run a little bit short, there's a bank to tide you over.
A bank? I have 3 banks. I've got credit because I pay my bills.
Mr. Jason, fortunately, there are very few narrow-minded bigots like you in business. Men who create the little situations, situations which can turn into the big situations. Situations which keep me and my staff working day and night.
Keep you working? Say, who are you anyway, talking so big?
The public defender of this county, Mr. Jason. Mrs. McGowan's attorney. Now, here's an order from the court releasing her check. And if I were in your place, Mr. Jason, I'd turn it over fast. Because I might lose my temper. Hello. I'm looking for a Mrs. McGowan. Do you know where she lives?
Oh, that's my mommy. I'm Kathy McGowan.
Well, I'm pleased to meet you, Kathy. Is your mom at home?
Oh, no. She won't be home for hours and hours. She works, you know.
Oh, I didn't know. Do you know where she's working?
Same place she's worked since Daddy came home from the hospital.
The same place? Do you know the name of the company where she works?
Uh-huh. The Jason Electric Company.
Thank you, Kathy. I was disturbed by what little Kathy had told me. I wondered why Mrs. McGowan had not told her family the truth. So I decided to come back and see Greta alone. So, almost bus time, baby. Old man Jason will dock you if you're late, you know.
I'd like to see him try.
Is there anything wrong with you the last few days or something?
Why, no. Nothing. Eddie, I left the baby in the playpen, and there's some soup I made. I put it in the icebox. Well, I'll see you tonight.
What's wrong with Mommy? She never left without kissing us before.
Please, Mr. Matthews, I can't tell my husband. He mustn't know I was let go.
What do you do with your time all day? Where do you go?
Where? Out looking for another job. Where else would I go?
Have you found any?
Found? Yes. 3 places I could have worked. And then, when they asked for references and called Mr. Jason, well...
Is that your husband watching us?
Oh, he's seen us. No, but am I going to tell him?
That's what you should have told him before, the truth. Now, here's the court order and the check. Now, you go on inside and tell him exactly what happened.
No, I can't, Mr. Matthews. I just can't.
Well, if you can't, with your permission, I can. Now, come on, Mrs. McGowan. The sooner, the better. I ought to go down and clean all of them out.
Eddie, please. I'll find something else.
Just once. That's all I want. Just one crack at him. I know how you feel right now. But as your wife said, it's all over. And besides, she will find something else, something better. Fat chance with Jason lying about us. Oh, I don't know. It could be that I might find someone who won't care what Jason says or does. Don't bother, Matthews. We aren't taking charity yet. Believe me, I didn't suggest it as charity. No. Thanks just the same. You've done enough for us already. Well, if there's anything I can do, anything at all, you know where to reach me.
Mr. Matthews, even if I knew the proper words, well, never could I thank you enough. Never.
Remember anything at all. Where do you think you're going?
Well, out the same place I went before. Out to look for another job.
Well, you've known me long enough to know that I don't go around asking favors.
Just name it, Bart, and if it isn't impossible, you're in.
Well, it's a job, Earl, a real hardship case. A woman with a couple of youngsters, a husband who can't work, and a line of creditors halfway around the block.
Oh? Any experience in our line?
Yeah, some. She was just fired by Jason because someone wouldn't wait and slapped an attachment on her paycheck.
Leo Jason let a woman go for that?
Oh, that's right. Do you know Jason?
Know him. Practically started him in business. Still furnishes us around 50 or 60,000 in small parts a year.
Oh, well, in that case, maybe you won't want to give Mrs. McGowan a job. Might be a little embarrassing.
Don't worry about that. You tell your Mrs. McGowan to be here tomorrow morning at 9. Ask for me personally. She's got a job as long as she wants it.
I can't even begin to thank you, Earl.
Forget it, Bart. I'm delighted I can help. Bye. Lucy, get me Leo Jason on the phone. I've got some news for him.
One of her creditors, one outfit they owed $14 to, flatly refused to wait. So, after going back 2 or 3 times, well, I paid it myself. You know, sort of advanced it for Greta.
How soft-hearted can you get?
Is there anybody home?
What do you think? I stole this when nobody was watching?
Yeah, what is it? what can I do for you?
Is, Mrs. McGowan home?
No. Is there something I can do? I'm the better half.
Oh. Well, maybe there's something I can do for you, Mr. McGowan.
Oh, and what is it you think you can do for us, Mr.
Jason. Leo Jason.
You're Jason and you have the gall to come here?
Look, McGowan, I don't know how she did it, but that double-crossing wife of yours just cost me $55,000 worth of business a year.
Jason, I don't like your language. I don't like you. And I couldn't care less if you lost $1 million worth of business a day.
Look, I'm trying to be nice. But if you're going to act like this, I may forget I'm a gentleman.
Jason, if I were you, I'd get out of here.
And are you going to make me?
What do you want?
McGowan, you have till 5 o'clock this afternoon to have your wife go down and tell Earl Tyler that I didn't fire her. She quit. And get me back his business.
Oh. And that's all you want. But you did fire her. You did, didn't you?
Let's just say I laid her off for a couple of days. She can have her job back again tomorrow morning.
Oh, no. You fired her. You called her a deadbeat. And, mister, if you think because you lost a few bucks, Greta's gonna come crawling and lie for you, you've got a lot to learn. A lot to learn.
Look, you better take my advice and do as I tell you.
And what'll happen if I don't?
I'll tell you what'll happen. I've got a lot of friends in this town, in the building business. And I was just talking to some of them before I came out here. And unless I get Earl Tyler's business back, you'll never work in this county again. Well, do I have to draw you a blueprint?
No. You don't have to do anything. You've done everything already.
All right. Then don't have your wife go down and square things with Tyler. And you'll find out I'm not bluffing.
A little out of your territory, aren't you, Jason?
No, I was just inside seeing Mrs.
Hi, Eddie. It's good to see you out of that wheelchair. Go on, get out of here.
Get out of the way, Matthews.
You're not being very hospitable to a guy who's bringing you good news.
Step aside, Matthews. Give us a break.
He's gone, Eddie. All right, come on. Let you and I go inside, Eddie.
Well, Doc?
I wouldn't believe it if I didn't see it.
It means Eddie can go back to work now?
I should say in a couple of weeks at the outside.
Pretty good for a physical wreck, huh?
Well, I'll be on my way.
Hello, Doctor. Well, I didn't know I was breaking in on a family celebration.
Congratulations, Matthews. Between you and Eddie, you've done a great job. Keep it up, Eddie.
So long, Doc, and thanks.
Bye, Doc.
What do you got there, Counselor? Your bill?
No, this is something for you, Eddie. That is, if you'll make a trade with me.
Trade? Sure, but what have I got that you'd want?
Well, wonderful wife, great family. But I know you wouldn't give them up. You can have these for Eddie Jr. if I can have something that I've always wanted.
Well, what's that? A Colt 45 service automatic. Now, Big Eddie McGowan is back working on the job he loves, for the family he loves. The case you have just seen was brought to a fair and just conclusion through the efforts of a public defender. Tonight, Philip Morris salutes Public Defender Edward B. Dittmeyer, Adams County, Quincy, Illinois, and his staff for outstanding achievement in the cause of justice.
public defender is an attorney employed by the community and responsible for giving legal aid without cost to any person who seeks it and is financially unable to employ private counsel. It is his duty to defend those accused of crime until the issue is decided in a court of law. The first public defender's office in the United States was opened in January 1913. Over the years, other offices were opened. And today, that handful has grown to a network of lawyers cooperating to protect the rights of our clients.
Tonight, we bring you the story of a man who did everything in his power to convict himself of murder. If you had been in his place, would you have acted differently? In this courtroom, Superior Court, Los Angeles County, Department 89, Judge Collins presiding, Peter Stone, on trial for murder, watches the clerk hand the jury verdict to the judge.
The defendant will stand. Mr. Clerk, you'll read the verdict.
The people of the state of California, plaintiff versus Peter Stone, defendant. We, the jury, in the above entitled cause, find the defendant guilty of murder. We further find it to be murder in the first degree with a recommendation for leniency.
I knew it. I told you. I knew it would happen just this way.
My name is Martha Fremont. I'm an attorney, Mr. Matthews. I was the attorney for...
Peter Stone, I remember. I saw you one day in court. Won't you sit down?
Thank you.
I thought you handled yourself very well.
Sure, great. My first client, and he gets life.
From what I read, no one could have gotten him an acquittal. Why didn't you let him testify?
Let him? I couldn't get him into the witness chair. He was afraid. Afraid of what the DA would do to him. Afraid the jury wouldn't believe him. Mr. Matthews, he's afraid of everything. I just couldn't handle him. Maybe you can.
Me?
I came to ask you to appeal the verdict.
I'm sorry. We don't compete with private attorneys.
Oh, but he can't afford counsel.
Did he pay you?
$50, all he had. And I've spent a great deal more than that. To appeal, I need a transcript of the trial. I can't afford to pay for it, and neither can Stone.
Well, if he'd sign a statement that he had no funds, and if the...
Thank you, Mr. Matthews. Thank you very much. Now I'm asking for a personal favor. Can I help?
I wish our budget could stand it.
Not for a fee. I've got a lot to learn. And if I could work with you, maybe I could help find something.
Well, on that basis, you're more than welcome. Are you ready for your first assignment?
Yes, sir.
All right, have Stone sign that statement.
Thank you.
The following day, the public defender was substituted as attorney of record for Peter Stone. I decided to start by visiting Stone's wife.
Hello, Mrs. Stone.
Oh, come in, Miss Fremont. Is there any news?
Good news. This is Mr. Matthews, the public defender.
How do you do?
He's taking over the case.
Mr. Matthews, you'll show them they made a mistake. You've got to.
Well, we'll try, Mrs. Stone. Now, I've read the full testimony, but I still don't have a real grasp of the case. I'd like to hear your side of the story, everything you can remember.
Remember? That's one night I'll never forget. Pete was on his way home from work.
We interrupt this program to bring you a news bulletin. Police have an eyewitness description of the killer wanted for the brutal stick-up murder of Arthur Crawford. The man wanted is thin, light complexioned, wears glasses, has a small mustache, is about 35 years old, and was last seen driving a gray 1950 Ford sedan.
Has anyone been here?
Who? Pete, what are you What are you doing? Who are you hiding from?
The cops. Louise, I swear I didn't do it,
Do
but...
what? What are you talking about? Pete, it's our anniversary. Baked cake.
Louise, sit down, will you? Look, I just read in the paper about a guy being killed. I passed right by the place where it happened.
Yes, but...
It's all in the radio.
What is?
All about a guy named Crawford. He ran out of gas, asked a guy for a lift to the nearest station. The guy got him in his car, and then he robbed him and killed him.
What's that got to do with you?
A girl saw him get the lift. She gave the cops a description of the guy. Now listen. Just listen to this. The wanted man is thin, wears glasses, has a small mustache. He's about 35 years old. That's me. They're gonna nail me.
Stop it, Pete. Stop being so afraid of everything. You can't go on living.
Wait a minute. Just let me finish reading. Crawford. That's the dead guy. And Crawford was killed by a .45 caliber Colt. From the description of the killer's car, police are searching for a gray 1950 Ford sedan. Louise, what'll I do?
Well, I still don't see why you're so...
Well, this description in the paper, that could be me, couldn't it?
And it could be 100, 1,000 other men.
But I own a 1950 Ford sedan. And the gun in this drawer is a .45 caliber Colt. Don't you see, Louise? The police are checking all owners of 1950 Ford sedans. When they get to me, they'll nail me.
No, they won't. They'll know you didn't do it.
Why? Because I say so? According to them, I'm a guy with a record. A conviction for armed robbery. That's the same as this is. Add up all those things
So
and...
you made a mistake 10 years ago. But you paid for it. You went to prison.
Yeah. I don't want to go back again. I still wake up scared in the night. Scared that I'm back in cell block 14. Look, I'm going to clear out of here till I get the real killer.
You can't.
I have to.
If the cops come and you run away, then they'll be sure you did it.
But if I stay, do you want me to go to jail?
I want you to be a man. You're my husband. I love you. I want to be proud of you. But I can't this way. Stop being so afraid of everything.
Louise, you don't understand what they...
Who is it?
It's me, Eddie. My model got out of control today. I took her way up as high as it would go. And then, zoom, it dive bombed and hit me right here. The doctor says I could have bleeded till I died. And look what happened to my model. I put a new prop on, but I don't know how to solder those wires. So if Mr. Stone...
Well, not now, Eddie. He's taking a bath.
Now?
Well, he...
Gosh, why can't you eat when you're dirty? You know, my mom always makes me wash my hands.
Well, you come back a little later, Eddie. I'll tell him what you need.
Okay.
Well, maybe you're right. Maybe I don't have to run away, but we've got to fix the car. Bernie Shaw has a paint shop down near the factory. He can make the Ford a different color.
Won't the police know?
Why? All it says in the registration is Ford Sedan, 1950. But we've got to get rid of this. I know. I can take it down and throw it off the pier. We've got to get rid of it. Oh, wait a minute. I must be crazy. That's all I'd need.
Now what's the matter?
Well, suppose there's a cop in the pier. Suppose he sees me trying to throw this in the ocean. He grabs it, sees it's a Colt 45. He wouldn't even bother with a trial.
Mr. Stone through with his bath yet?
Eddie.
Oh, let him in.
Come on in, Eddie. He'll help you now.
Hi, Mr. Stone.
Hi, Eddie.
Mr. Stone, you look funny. You shaved your mustache
Well, I
off.
got tired of it. Say, you want to get this thing fixed?
Yeah, would you solder those control wires for me?
Sure, I will. If you'll do me a favor,
Sure.
you take this down to the pier and throw it in the ocean.
What is it?
It's some acid. I don't dare throw it in the sink. It might ruin the pipes.
Is it okay if I throw it in the garbage can?
No, don't do that. You know, some other kids might come along and find it.
Yeah, they would know about acid.
Yeah, they might get hurt real bad. You take that down, throw it in the ocean as far out as you can. And when you get back, your plane will be all fixed.
Okay.
That's all I remember, Mr. Matthews. Does it help?
Well, at least it explains a lot of the circumstantial evidence. Now, Martha, as I remember, young Kennedy testified that when he got outside, he looked in the package and saw a gun.
A gun like a .45 Colt the DA showed him in court.
Uh-huh. And where does Eddie live?
Next door.
Well, let's drop over and see him.
Well, he's not home. He had another accident. Nothing serious, and his mother shipped him off to his aunt for a few days.
Well, in that case, we'll have to wait until he gets back. We'll be in touch with you.
Thank you.
Peter Stone was a man ruled by fear, an emotion that eats away a man's reason. But that wasn't evidence. I told Stone how tough the situation was.
It's okay, Mr. Matthews. I know you can't do anything. Maybe for somebody else, but not for me.
I didn't say that.
You don't have to. I'm Peter Stone.
The fault, dear Brutus, is in ourselves, not in our stars. Ever hear that? Well, Shakespeare wrote that over 300 years ago, but it applies to you. You were under suspicion because of all the things you did.
Yeah, I know. I do everything wrong.
You know, I can understand almost everything except what you were doing with a gun, a Colt 45.
Oh, I got it for Louise. Well, there'd been a lot of trouble in our neighborhood. Guys came to the door, said it was a gas man or a telegram, anything to get in. Because if the husband was there, they said it was a mistake. So I got this gun for Louise and showed her how to point it. The way things break for me, it would have to be a 45 Colt. You don't believe me, do you?
Yes, I do. But before we go any further, let me ask you something. Do you want me to appeal this verdict?
I don't understand.
There's a gamble involved.
What kind?
You're alive now. If another jury finds you guilty, it could mean the gas chamber.
I guess it would. I'm Peter Stone. Do I have to decide now?
No. Think it over.
I guess wrong. I always do.
Stone, you're not the only one who has had bad breaks.
I know, but you've had some good ones, too.
Mr. Stone, you've had one good break.
Me?
A girl named Louise married you.
She shouldn't have. Somebody upstairs made a mistake.
You believe in somebody upstairs?
I used to.
Till when?
Until this thing happened. Do you expect me to believe in a God who puts innocent men in jail for life?
No. Just don't lose faith. Do you remember the 23rd Psalm?
Yeah, I think so.
It would be good medicine for someone who feels the way you do. Try it.
23rd Psalm. The Lord is my shepherd, I shall not want. He maketh me to lie down in green pastures. He leadeth me beside the still waters. He restoreth my soul. About that appeal, Mr. Matthews, you go ahead and appeal the verdict. I'll take my chances. He guideth me in straight paths for his name's sake. Yea, though I walk through the valley of the shadow of death, I will fear no evil. Thou art with me. Thy rod and thy staff, they comfort me.
Now we had to find a basis for appeal. The next step was to interview Gladys Taylor, the 14-year-old schoolgirl who had made the eyewitness identification. Do you remember the day you saw a man in a car talking to Mr. Crawford? You never saw that man before, did you?
No.
And that day you saw him for maybe a minute or two. But 5 days later, when Mr. Stone was arrested, you positively identified him. How could you be so sure?
I just was.
Do you remember everything that well?
No, but this was important.
Why?
Because he killed Mr. Crawford.
But you didn't know he was going to.
No.
What happened that made you study his face so carefully that 5 days later you could positively identify him?
I just did, that's all. Why are you asking me all these things? They've already found him guilty.
We're appealing the case, Gladys.
You mean there's going to be another trial? Will they put my picture in the paper again?
They might.
They did last time.
That's important to you, isn't it, Gladys? Is it as important as sending a man to prison for his whole life? Listen to me, Gladys. Peter Stone is in prison tonight, and one of the reasons is that you said you saw him giving Mr. Crawford a lift. I want you to stop and think before you answer this question. Are you positive the man in the car was Peter Stone?
I thought he was.
You thought he was. This was one break, but it wasn't enough. At midnight, Martha and I were still trying to find a new angle.
But you're sorry you ever got mixed up with this office?
Sorry. I can't tell you how much I appreciate the lesson.
What lesson?
How to cross-examine a witness. No jury will believe that Taylor girl when you get through questioning her.
Yeah, that's not enough. There's still so much that we have to prove.
The worst, of course, was having that car painted so soon after the murder.
What's the name of that paint shop?
Shore, Bernard Shore, over in Lincoln Boulevard.
Mm-hmm. I'll stop by there the first thing in the morning.
Hi.
Hi. I'm Bart Matthews, public defender's office. Peter Stone's new lawyer.
You got a tougher job than me.
Well, since you're a friend of his, I wonder if...
Oh, Nellie. Say, you better go back and touch second base. That creep's no friend of mine.
You testified that you went bowling with him every Monday night.
Say, listen, when a guy tries to tie me in with a murder he committed, I write him off my book.
He says he's innocent.
Well, if you can find an honest bookmaker, you can get 100 to 1 on that.
What makes you so sure?
Well, why shouldn't I be? When a guy comes into me the way he did, well, I've got to protect myself, don't I? Good morning. Can I help you? Hey, Pete, what happened to the spinach? Oh.
Shade it off.
Hey, there's something else different, too. You haven't got the cheaters on. You're going to be throwing all those balls in the gutter.
Say, listen, Blub, I'd like to get the car painted.
But, Pete, it don't need it.
Well, I'm just tired of the gray.
You're no off the street, Oscar. And, Pete, I can level with you. I can't do this good a job.
Oh, I don't care. I'm just tired of the color.
All right, but it'll cost you.
I'll pay, don't worry. How quick can you get it?
What color do you want?
Oh, any color. You pick it. Just so long as it isn't gray. Look, Blub, if anybody asks, say you did the job last month.
What's up, Doc?
Well, nothing. Just say you did it last month, okay?
Sure.
Thanks.
There you are, and I'll leave it to you.
Tell me, were there any blood stains in the car?
I didn't see any. Why?
If he shot Crawford, there would have been.
Well, unless he made Crawford get out first. I'm sorry, Doc. I hate to see anybody swing. But it's none of my business.
Thanks. The further our investigation went, the worse things looked. Martha and I studied the transcript of Stone's trial again and again. Then I had a call that Peter Stone's wife was outside with young Eddie Kennedy.
What'd you be saying to Mrs. Stone?
Oh, that's right, Eddie. You sit down, too.
Hey, what happened to your arm?
I fell off the tree again.
Oh, that's too bad. You know, Eddie, do you remember that package Mr. Stone gave you that night?
Sure. I'm sorry, but I had to tell the judge and everybody about the gun. I didn't want to get Mr. Stone in trouble.
Oh, of course you didn't. And don't you worry, Eddie. We all want you to tell the truth.
Okay.
Now, I've been reading everything that you said at that trial. And you know that they all forgot to ask you one question?
What?
Well, Eddie, if I were a boy 10 years old and someone gave me a package to throw off the pier, I think I would have done just what you did. I would have taken a look, too.
But Mr. Stone didn't say not to look.
Well, you're right. And if I were a 10-year-old boy and I opened up that package and found a gun, I think I would have kept it and hid it someplace real good.
I'll get him.
Who?
You know who. Porky. He's the only one I showed it to.
You mean I'm right, Eddie? You didn't throw that gun off the pier?
I'll fix him.
Eddie, where is the gun?
Eddie, why didn't you tell me? That gun might get Mr. Stone out of jail.
How?
Well, if we can prove that it didn't fire the bullet that killed Mr. Crawford, we'll be able to free Mr. Stone.
Can they do that?
Every gun leaves different markings on bullets. Now, please, Eddie, what did you do with the gun that Mr. Stone gave to you?
My mother took it away from me.
And is your mother home now?
She was at home when I picked Eddie up.
Come on, Eddie, let's all go out and see your mother, huh?
Okay. Hi, Mom.
Where have you been now? Can't I take my eyes off of you for 1 minute? If you're not getting hit with that plane or falling off the fence and breaking your arm, you're disappearing. Oh, Edward, I swear you'll be the death of me yet.
I went with Mrs. Stone.
Alice, he was supposed to tell you we went to see Pete's lawyer.
Well, he didn't, Louise.
Now, Mrs. Kennedy, your son says that you took a gun from him.
I certainly did. If this boy doesn't put me in an early grave...
Can I have it, please?
What for?
We need it badly, very badly.
I'm sorry, but I can't help you.
But, Mrs. Kennedy...
Please, Alice. That gun caused Eddie enough trouble. Missing school, policemen with him every minute, his pictures in the paper, crazy phone calls in the middle of the night.
I know how you feel, but...
That was bad enough. Then one day I come home from shopping, and I look out here. How I ever got through that day, I'll never know. Here stands Eddie with a gun.
It must have been a terrible shock. But can I have it, please?
Well, it's gone. The minute I got my hands on it, I ran straight to the pier and threw it in the ocean.
I'm afraid we're licked. That was the last possible piece of new evidence.
Isn't there anything you can do?
We'll keep on trying, that's all I can say.
I'm sorry, Louise. I know. I nearly went out of my mind when I saw Eddie shooting that gun.
He shot that gun where?
Out here.
How many shots did you fire, Eddie?
One, just one.
And where did the bullet go?
Out there someplace.
And what's in back of that fence?
Open fields.
Would you mind if I bring a policeman out here?
Please, Alice.
It's important.
Well, all right.
Thank you. Can I use your telephone?
Come in.
I called a friend of mine, Detective Frank Leonard, police firearms expert, and asked him to get out to the Kennedy backyard as soon as possible. He was there in 20 minutes.
Eddie, I want you to take this gun.
Are you sure it's all right?
Yes, perfectly all right, ma'am.
But this isn't the same kind.
I know. I want you to stand where you were when you fired that other gun. And aim it the way you aimed the other one.
Okay. I was standing right here, and Porky dared me to shoot. So, I aimed like this, then I did like this, then boom! It almost knocked me off my feet.
What do you think? There's an open field out there. How far would a .45 slug travel?
Well, that varies. Depends on the angle of fire. We could get a mine detector and go over that area foot by foot, inch by inch.
Sounds like a lot of work, but it might be worth it. Think we possibly could have missed it out there?
No, this mine detector doesn't miss. We got every nail and bottle cap and piece of metal and... Eddie, are you sure you were standing right over there when you fired that gun?
Yeah, the bird I shot at was right up there in that tree.
Now he tells us.
We went over that tree inch by inch, looking for this needle in a wooden haystack, not knowing if the needle was there. Until...
We ought to be able to get an answer in an hour.
And we should know very soon. Miss Fremont's over at headquarters now.
Oh, so many things have happened to me so far.
Maybe they'll make a mistake with the bullets.
So you're the original tough luck kid, huh?
But, Mr. Matthews...
Now, never mind. Let me tell you something. You haven't had any tough breaks that you didn't make yourself. Now, look, Stone, you've got a lot to be thankful for, but you won't have, even if you get out of here, unless you change.
How?
You've got to face facts. The world isn't against you, and the only one who can determine your future is a guy named Peter Stone.
Mr. Matthews, the bullets didn't match. We won.
You see what a little faith can do? On presentation of the new evidence, a new trial was granted. The defendant was found not guilty. 2 months later, a hold-up man was arrested. His gun proved to be the one used in the Crawford murder. The case you have just seen was brought to a fair and just conclusion through the efforts of a public defender. Tonight, Philip Morris salutes Public Defender James D. Cosgrove, Hartford County, Hartford, Connecticut, and his staff for outstanding achievement in the cause of justice. A public defender is an attorney employed by the community and responsible for giving legal aid without cost to any person who seeks it and is financially unable to employ private counsel. It is his duty to defend those accused of crime until the issue is decided in a court of law. The first public defender's office in the United States was opened in January 1913. Over the years, other offices were opened. And today, that handful has grown to a network of lawyers cooperating to protect the rights of our clients. The case you're about to see is about a young man who traveled more than 6,000 miles to find freedom, only to end up behind bars.
Operator, get me the police department, please. Hello, police. I have just killed a man. Yes. I'm Erich Bachmann, 7325 Latrona Drive.
I was appointed to defend Eric Bachmann on a charge of murder.
I have nothing to say.
But, Mr. Bachmann, if I'm to defend you, you must help me. You must tell me something.
No. I have nothing to say.
Following my only lead, I went to Eric's home. The young woman who answered my ring was no more cooperative, but I was certain she knew more than she was willing to tell. Our investigation seemed to be leading us nowhere, until one day.
Mr. Matthews?
That's right.
Jeff Thomas.
Government. Come in, Mr. Thomas. Would you sit down?
Thank you.
What can I do for you?
I understand you're handling the Bachman case. I've been trying to help the boy, but there's nothing much to go on. I don't think he said more than 10 words since he gave himself up.
There may be a reason for his silence.
What kind of a reason?
He doesn't know enough about the case to offer any defense. Only his sister and my office know the facts. Maybe I better start at the beginning. Eric and Wanda Bachman are refugees.
Jeff Thomas' story told of the hectic days a few years after the war. Armed guards protect the border. On one side, freedom. On the other, harsh regimentation. There were those who fought against this injustice, and those who felt their only escape was to cross that barrier to freedom. Foolhardy thing to do? Perhaps. But Eric and Wanda were young and brave and had their lives before them.
Halt, halt, halt! Halt, halt, halt!
Crippled Eric, but it did not deter him or his sister from accomplishing their goal, America. They took residence in a Midwestern city, and after the required time, both were granted their final citizenship papers.
Mr. Bachman?
Yes? Is there something I can do for you?
I am Hans Oberlander. I was told to look you up when I arrived.
I'm glad to meet you, sir.
I've just returned from a visit to the old country, not far from where your father lives.
My father?
Let me put these down somewhere.
Oh, I'm sorry. Any place is all right. Please sit down. You said something about my father. You saw him. He lives.
I saw him less than 3 weeks ago.
You're certain? You're sure it is Paul Bachman, a teacher?
Well, he is not a teacher now. I think he is a janitor in a furniture factory. But I am certain it is he. When I told him I was returning to America, well, I had to pass. I had been living in New York for several years before I went back.
He's all right. I mean, did they do anything to him?
He looked quite well to me.
Almost 8 years we haven't heard from him. We were sure he was dead.
He's very much alive, I assure you. And he talked of nothing else but you. And, is it Wanda, your sister? His children.
We're still trying to get him out. But the State Department, they tell us they have not been able to get much satisfaction.
I know what you mean. They never give out information.
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Oberlander.
No, call me Hans. I feel we are good friends already.
We are. You brought me wonderful news. Come inside of the house. We can talk much better in there, and it's much more comfortable.
I'm sorry, I'm late, Eric.
Wanda, meet my very good friend, Hans Oberlander.
I'm happy to meet you.
Hello.
Brace yourself. I have big, wonderful surprise for you.
Surprise?
Wanda, Father is living. Hans has been telling me about it all afternoon.
I knew it. I told you, Eric, but you wouldn't believe.
I saw him just a few weeks ago. He sends you his love.
One of our letters got through to him. That's why Hans could find us.
The letter was well worn. It must have been read 1,000 times.
It was the one you wrote, remember, when we rented this house 3 years ago?
Oh, it was so nice of you to come to tell us. We have waited so long to hear.
You are everything he said you were. Prettier.
Tell me about Father.
Well, questions later. We must give Hans strength enough to answer them. He must have dinner with us. With wine. Californian wine. Everything American. You know, Hans is a citizen, too. Now for almost 2 years.
Wonderful.
That was a wonderful dinner.
The best part about it was hearing all about Father.
I didn't know how late it was. I haven't even registered at the hotel yet.
Well, Hans, why don't you stay here?
Oh, I couldn't.
Well, why not? We have an extra room. It's very small, but I'm sure you'd be comfortable.
Well, I wouldn't want to be in the way.
You have brought us very good news. You are welcome in our house.
They were happy, Wanda and Hans. Hans' stay lengthened into 2-3 weeks. On Saturdays, when Wanda had a day off from the defense plant, they went on a picnic. It wasn't long before Eric realized what was happening. It was obvious Wanda was falling for the attractive visitor.
You know, Wanda, I've been thinking. There might be a way of getting your father to America.
Yes, Hans? How?
I know some people who might be helpful.
Oh, but we have tried everything. We have written letters. We have tried the State Department, the immigration authorities. We have talked to anybody who would listen.
Yes, but I think that the people that I know would see to it that your father got across the border safely.
I don't understand.
Well, maybe I shouldn't suggest...
Oh, please, Hans, tell me.
Well, these things had happened before. I mean, you could sort of trade information for his freedom.
Hans, you speak in riddles.
Oh, it is no riddle. He worked in the electronics plant. I am told that they are experimenting with new radar and plane detection equipment. And if you could deliver them the plans for it, these people tell me they could deliver your father in return.
I couldn't.
Yeah, you probably have the secret anyway. Some people always profit by these things. It might as well be you. And I know how much you and Eric want your father with you.
No.
He wants so much to see you.
I'm all mixed up. Don't know what to think or say.
It would be so simple for you. You work in the duplicating department. You have access to all the blueprints. I would even be able to help you. Perhaps I could get in sometime.
I don't know. I don't know. They would free my father?
I am certain of it.
It's an awful thing. Oh, he's such an old man. I would want to see him, to have him with us before he dies. Eric must never know. You must promise.
Of course I promise. Eric must never know.
Wanda Bachman didn't sleep that night. Her father was dear to her. So was her new country. The freedom she and Eric had always wanted. The next morning, Wanda Bachman hurried into the federal building.
I thought I loved him. We seemed to have so much in common. And then there was my father. It's been years since Eric and I have seen him. He thought I was going to help him, but I couldn't, even if it meant my father.
Hans Oberlander, alias Robert Decker, alias Joseph Good. Suspected of arson at the Lee Chemical Plant in Jersey City. Sabotage of the Northern Aeronautical Industries at Evanston. Inciting a riot at Smithson Ball Bearing Company.
You know about Hans?
We know Mr. Oberlander very well. He was followed to your home. We have daily reports on everything he's done. And ever since he moved into your home, your brother's fix-it shop has been under surveillance.
You have been watched closely at your work.
Oh, believe me, Mr. Thomas, we have not done anything wrong. Well, we've tried to be good citizens.
I know. But since he moved in, we had to be sure. His stories are lies, all of them. He never applied for citizenship. He's only been here 6 months. He was told to contact you because of your work at the plant and because they know of your father through letters they'd intercepted. Miss Bachman, your father was executed 3 days after your escape. I'm sorry. He went quickly. There were others who suffered a long time. Water?
No, thank you, Mr. Thomas. But if you knew so much about Hans, why hasn't he been arrested?
We could have deported him months ago.
Care what you do with him, but get him out of my house. I never want to see him again.
It's important to our country to find out the men he's working with. You, Miss Bachman, can help us.
I?
He trusts you. We need you.
I'd like to, Mr. Thomas. But how?
Think it over carefully, Miss Bachman. This could be a very difficult and dangerous job. I wouldn't want you to plunge into it without knowing exactly what could happen.
But I want to, Mr. Thomas. I must.
Good. Now then, there are several things that'll have to be straightened out. First of all, no one must know of this, not even your brother. You'll contact me here, except in case of an emergency. For that, you'll have a private telephone number.
Hello, Eric.
Hello.
Has Hans come home yet?
Hans? I don't like the way he acts. Maybe one I would like to talk to you seriously. Hans has been here for a very long time and...
Not now. I don't want to talk about it now. Oh. I did not know that you had company.
Wanda, I want you to meet some friends of mine. Mr. Mueller.
How do you do?
And Mr. Grutter.
How do you do?
Chant. Hans should consider himself fortunate working with you. Tonight, same place. Goodbye.
Goodbye.
Good night.
Goodbye.
Grutter, he is the important one. I have already spoken to him about your father.
What did he say?
Once the plans are delivered, your father can cross the border.
Good.
Do you think you can get them?
They're not finished yet, but when they are, I will get them.
You are wonderful, darling. Oh, come on, some cooperation, sweetheart. It's getting late. What about dinner?
It'll only take a few minutes. We're having shots.
I hope you don't mind being your own cook tonight, Eric. Wanda and I are going to a party.
Every night. We are never together anymore. She should have time to rest, too.
It's all right, Eric. I feel fine. I would love to go.
Put on your blue dress. That is the prettiest.
All right, Hans. Who is it?
Eric.
Oh, come in. I was just going to bed, Eric.
If you can stay up this late, 5 minutes more won't make much difference. I've been trying to talk to you for days. You've been avoiding me. Why?
Oh, please, Eric.
I don't like it. He came here as a friend, but now I don't know. He acts as if he owns you. What does it all mean?
You're dreaming things, Eric.
Dreaming? He was going to stay for a week. Now it's been almost a month. Where does he get all his money? He bought a new car. He takes it to nightclubs. And all his friends, his secrets.
Oh, I don't know, Eric. I don't know.
I don't like it. Whatever it is wrong. I'm going to tell him to go.
No, Eric. No.
Listen, Wanda. I'm your brother. I don't want to cause you any unhappiness. But there's something about him...
Stop! I love Hans. We are going to be married. These are the men I've met. I've tried to describe them, too.
Good. Anything else new?
Hans is getting impatient. He keeps talking about the plans.
I have them for you. At least the ones we want to fall into their hands.
Do you want me to give them to Hans?
Not to him, to the whole group.
They're coming over tonight.
What time?
8 o'clock at my house.
Fine. You give them the plans. Leave the rest to me.
Hello, sweetheart. What's the matter? You look as though something had happened.
I got the plans. I got into the files just before they closed it.
That's wonderful. Let me see them.
No. I want to be sure they keep their promise about my father. I want to give them to Gruber.
All right. They'll be here in a few moments. There's a special meeting.
But you said 8 o'clock.
They're on their way here now. Why don't you make a bite? I'm going to clean up.
Dollar speaking. Hello?
Wanda, no towels.
I'll get some for you.
Phoning somebody?
I was checking the time operator. I think my watch is slow.
It is 6:55, darling. I always know what time it is.
Better get things ready.
Something light. We will feast after we are finished. Ruthie should be here in a few moments.
The meeting is earlier, Mr. Thomas. In the next few minutes. I thought I would be too late. Good. Goodbye.
Who are you phoning?
It was nothing. Just a friend at the factory. About to work tomorrow.
It is Gruta and our friends. Come.
You need have no concern, Miss Bachman. You rendered a great service, not only to yourself, but to a cause worthy of your fine efforts.
Thank you, Mr. Gruser.
I told you we could depend on Miss Bachman, didn't I?
Yes, Hans. You have a remarkable capacity for judging human nature. And now, Miss Bachman, would you be kind enough to hand over the plans? Yes. It is what we want. You have been very cooperative, Miss Bachman. It's been a pleasure working with you.
Thank you. But what about my father? You promised.
Your young lady has done splendidly. I think she's deserving of something very special this evening. This lovely country, good roads, too. A ride to the beach, or up to the hills. You know all the scenic spots, Hans.
But I did everything you asked. Why, those plans are very valuable. I could have gotten into trouble. I still could. Please, Mr. Gruder, I'll do anything you ask. I'll work for you again. I'll do anything.
Good night.
Gruser, Mueller, you're under arrest.
Hans, don't I mean anything to you? You told me you loved me.
Why not? You are a very pretty girl. Let her go, Hans.
Operator, get me the police department, please. Hello, police. I have just killed a man. Yes. I'm Erich Bachmann, 7325 Latrona Drive.
I didn't interfere in the matter at that point because there were other members of the spy ring we wanted to round up.
Then Eric Bachman is not aware of your activities in this matter at all.
It's been a confidential file up to this moment. He doesn't even know his sister was working with my department.
He still thinks she's a spy and a traitor.
You straighten him out on that point. I think he'll talk readily enough.
Oh, thank you, Mr. Thomas. I don't know. Oh, you said that your files on this case were confidential up until this moment.
I'll make available to you any information you need to free your client. If ever there was a case of justifiable homicide, this is it.
Thank you. Jeff Thomas was right. Once Eric Bachman knew his sister was still a loyal citizen, he talked plenty in his own defense. I had no trouble getting an acquittal in his case. The case you have just seen was brought to a fair and just conclusion through the efforts of a public defender. Tonight, Philip Morris salutes public defender Richard A. Schoening, Yuba County, Marysville, California, and his staff for outstanding achievement in the cause of justice. A public defender is an attorney employed by the community and responsible for giving legal aid without cost to any person who seeks it and is financially unable to employ private counsel. It is his duty to defend those accused of crime until the issue is decided in a court of law. The first public defender's office in the United States was opened in January 1913. Over the years, other offices were opened. And today, that handful has grown to a network of lawyers cooperating to protect the rights of our clients. Motorists are constantly warned about the dangers of picking up hitchhikers. These dangers apply to both the motorist and the hitchhiker.
Thanks.
You're welcome.
How far are you going?
To the airport.
Oh, that's great. I can get a bus there. Maria won't be asleep yet.
Is that your girl?
I'm an all-married man. Gonna be a papa.
Wonderful. When?
A couple of months.
How long are you home for?
Just a couple of weeks. Then I'm shipping out to Japan.
Going to take your wife?
Maria wants to have the baby in this country. She had a rough deal when she was a kid. She's from Czechoslovakia. Threw her in a concentration camp when she was 13. She says she ain't taking any chance with our boy. He's gonna be born here, being a 100% U.S. citizen.
You said boy.
We already decided.
Oh, I see.
When's your plane?
11 o'clock.
Where you going?
Chicago.
Chicago, huh? I was there once. It's cold. Hey, miss. That's the way to the airport.
I've got to return the car. It's rented. Picked a name for the baby?
Christopher Angelo McCosta. You like it?
But suppose it's a girl. Suppose there's an accident. You know, it could happen.
We'll call her Maria and hope it looks like her instead of me. She's real pretty. I'll show you. Yeah, that's her. She drew it herself. She's a good drawer. She made that one of me.
She is good. I'll drop you off at the bus station.
Well, that'll be swell. Thanks a lot.
Hi, Sparky.
Hello, honey.
$10, right?
You can still borrow the car for free. One date, one car. Where are you going to beat a price like that?
No, thanks.
Did you bring the keys? Hang them up for me, will you? I got more grease in my hands than I have in my hair. Number 5. I wish I could tell you what you're missing. You ought to see me in about a half an hour.
I know it'd be fun, but I've got a plane to catch.
Thanks anyway. Rent a car. Oh, hello, Alice. Yeah, I know I didn't come home for dinner. Well, I just didn't have a chance to call you, that's all. No, I'll be working here most of the night. Okay, yeah, I'll see you for breakfast. Okay. Okay. Goodbye. Hello, honey. I can close up now. Yeah, I'll be over and pick you up in about 15 minutes. Okay. Good. Bye.
Dominic. Oh.
I brought you something.
Oh, thank you.
I was sore when I missed the last bus. If I didn't have to walk home, I never would have passed the place with those flowers. What a fine father I am. I didn't even ask you. How's Christopher?
Oh, he is fine, Dominic, fine. You had something to eat?
I wasn't hungry.
Oh, a father must eat also.
Sit down. I will make you some naleśniki.
No, Maria, you rest. It's too late to eat pancakes. 11:15, I'm tired. And you are, too. You can make pancakes for me for tomorrow.
All right.
Acosta? Private Dominic McCosta?
That's right.
Police.
I'm not AWOL. I've got my orders.
I want to ask you and your wife a few questions.
Oh, my wife's in bed.
Were you near the airport tonight?
Yeah?
Is this your wallet?
Yeah, but how?
This wallet was found tonight in a stolen car.
Stolen car?
And the car was involved in a hit-and-run accident at 11 o'clock.
I was here at 11 o'clock.
Anybody see you?
My wife?
Well, anybody else?
Oh, I just got home tonight.
Did you wear your uniform tonight?
Yeah?
This car was stolen from a garage near the airport. The garage man saw a soldier and a girl hanging around the place just before the car was taken. You're a soldier. You admit you were near the airport. Your wallet was found in the car. You added up.
But I didn't steal any car.
The garage man is at headquarters. You and your wife better get dressed. You'll both have to let him take a look at you. Okay, Pete, send them in.
Dominic, what are they doing to us?
It's all right, Maria. He can't say it was us. He can't.
Against the wall over here. Line up with us, please. All right, send in Albright. You recognize any of these people? Don't make any identification unless you're positive.
I've never seen any of them, Lieutenant.
Thanks anyway.
Sorry. Wish I could have helped you.
You can go. Not you, McCosta. You and your wife stay here.
You heard the man. He didn't know us.
There's another witness. The old woman who was hit.
She will tell you, too, it was not Dominic and me. She will tell you it was another man. Dominic was home with me.
Can we go see her now?
She's unconscious. But before she went into her coma, she said there was a man and a woman in the car.
It wasn't us.
How'd your wallet get in the car?
Dominic has told you already so many times. He does not know.
Well, until we find out, we're holding you.
Dominic and Maria were booked on suspicion of car theft and felonious hit-and-run driving. They were photographed, fingerprinted, and put in jail. I was assigned to defend them. With every answer, they protested their innocence.
I didn't steal any car. All I know is some girl gave me a lift to the airport. Next thing I know, some guy's arresting me.
Why do they do this to Dominic and me? This is the United States. Here, they do not put you in jail for nothing.
They made a mistake, Maria. Mr. Matthews will get us out. Tell her.
I hope so. Dominic, do you know how your wallet got in that car?
I must have dropped it.
Then you were in the car.
Sure, I thought my way home so I could save the dough.
You mean someone gave you a lift?
The girl. When we got near the airport, I took my wallet out to show her Maria's picture. And I thought I dropped it back in my pocket, but it must have missed.
Well, that girl is important. Who is she?
I don't know. She didn't tell me her name.
Can you describe her?
Yeah. Real pretty. Brown hair. Kind of a little nose. Maybe about as old as me. She was going to Chicago.
That night?
That's how come she left me off at the airport.
Well, do you know what plane she took?
No. Yeah. Wait a minute. 11 o'clock, she said.
You will find her, Mr. Matthews.
Well, we might be able to locate her by checking all of the airline passengers for the night, or... Say, wait a minute. The rent-a-car place would have her name.
That's right. You see, Maria, it's going to be okay.
Then we can go home, yes?
I don't know, but at least...
But they cannot keep us here. Dominic and me, we did not do anything. I do not want my baby to be born in jail.
That's right, Mr. Matthews. You've got to get us out of here.
I'll arrange to have you transferred to the jail hospital.
Oh, no. I will not go. I will not have my baby in prison. They cannot make me.
We'll do our best.
Hello, Frank. Hi, Bart. When you're through, I'll take Private McCosta off your hands.
Oh, what for?
The old lady that was hit. She's coming out of her coma. I want her to listen to McCosta.
Listen to me?
Yeah, she's blind. When they found her, she was still conscious. She said that the car stopped after it hit her. The driver got out and walked over to her, said to somebody, "The old dame's blind." She heard a woman's voice, but she doesn't know what she said. She wouldn't be able to recognize her voice.
How would this man know so quickly that she was blind?
She was still clutching her white cane.
Well, we're through here, Frank. Where is the lady?
City Hospital.
Would you mind if I go along with you?
Glad to have you.
Can you hear me?
I'm Detective Bell. You told the policeman you'd be able to recognize the voice of that man in the car. Do you still think you can? Fine. Now, please listen carefully.
The old dame is blind. The old dame is blind.
We have another man for you to listen to. All right?
The old dame is blind.
Louder this time.
The old dame is blind. No, she's wrong! She's wrong!
The next morning, I swung by the garage to get the name of that girl. But the relief man couldn't help me. All he could tell me was that Sparky would be back later. So I went to the airport. I quickly learned that the only plane leaving here for Chicago around 11 p.m. was United Airlines flight number 710. When I got to the United counter, I told the young lady my problem. She called the passenger supervisor, a Mr. Bentley, then told me he'd be right out.
My name's Bentley.
Oh, I'm Bart Matthews, the public.
Yes, I recognized you. What can we do for you?
Well, a young soldier named McCosta and his wife were arrested this week, charged with car theft and hit-and-run driving.
Yeah, I read about it.
A young lady gave McCosta a lift on Monday night. She left here for Chicago at 11 o'clock.
It's flight 710. We can check that manifest. What's her name?
I don't know. But if it's not too much trouble, I'd like to have the name of every female passenger on that flight.
Well, we can have that in, say, 15 minutes.
Fine.
But there may be 20 or 30 names on that list.
That's all right. I'm going back to the rent-a-car garage. And if the young lady who returned that car is on your list, we'll know we have the right person.
Can I talk to you a minute?
Yeah, just a second.
I'd like some information, please.
Dial 113 for information, please. Million laughs, this job. Doc, if you're selling something, you're going to have to talk to the guy that owns this joint. I'm just the daytime, nighttime, sleepy time blues manager.
I'm Bart Matthews, the public defender. I'm representing Private McCosta.
Brother, you got a tough job on your hands with that Yankee Doodle soldier boy. But I think I got that one figured out. So a guy comes in town on a furlough. What's he looking for? Well, a few laughs, a little romance, vive la France. I know. I used to be in the Army. Loved every minute of it. So this poor slob gloms a car, picks up a dame. They go out and get loaded, and boom, he clobbers this old lady, and they take off.
Very interesting. Can you tell me who returned that Ford sedan Monday night just before it was stolen?
Well, I can look it up. One thing I like about this job is so nice and clean. We've got germs here that even Mayo Clinic hasn't heard about yet. That was number 5. Now, here we are. Monday was the
21st.
10th, 12th, 17th, 18th. Somebody's giving you a snow job. Car number 5 was in the pits 3 days having a valve job before your soldier boy glommed it.
You mean it never left the shop?
Not a chance.
Thanks. While I was at the garage, Mr. Bentley made a phone call to the Flight Operations Dispatch Office, who put these machines to work for us. Into this telemeter control room and into the machines flowed the name, address, destination, connecting flights, and other information on every passenger. I returned to the passenger terminal.
Well, how did you make out at the garage?
No luck. I still don't know her name.
Well, here's the entire passenger list of Flight 710 Monday night.
Thanks. Well, I guess I'll have to check all of them.
Well, you had one break. Only 16 women on that flight.
We could use a few breaks.
Oh, and another thing that may help. They're all local people. Can I buy you some coffee?
Oh, thanks again, but I'd better start checking this list. McCosta's trial starts tomorrow. While I checked the 3 women who had returned to the city, requests to trace and question the others were sent by teletype and phone to the various cities the women had gone to. Then we waited. A few hours later, we started to get our answers. One by one, we heard from New York, Boston, Memphis, Columbus, Omaha. I'm sorry, but there was no such passenger.
You're a liar.
Dominic, don't say those things.
You blind like the old woman? They know we didn't do anything.
Dominic, whatever you think, I'm on your side. Now, my office did check all 16 women passengers on that flight. None of them gave a soldier a lift on the way to the airport.
All I know is that a girl gave me a lift in that car. She said she was going to Chicago at 11 o'clock. How do I know if she really went? Maybe she got sick. Maybe she had an accident.
There were no last-minute cancellations on that flight.
So I made it up. The whole thing. I ran over the old girl, and I stole the car.
Dominic, please.
I know it looks like you're being framed, Dominic, but...
Looks like it.
The police don't operate that way.
Dominic, the picture. Give it to Mr. Matthews.
Oh, what difference does it make? You think they're going to knock their brains out trying to find one girl out of 160 million people? You'll have the baby in prison. Who cares? Us, and we don't count.
Dominic, what can it hurt?
What picture is she talking about?
From all that Dominic has told me, I drew a picture.
Of the girl? Well, let's see it.
Dominic, please.
Does this look like her? Does it?
Oh, it's okay. What difference does it make? They've got us now. They ain't gonna let us go.
They might if we can find this girl before 2 o'clock tomorrow. Your trial is scheduled for the afternoon session.
Who you kidding if they find this girl? You really want to know how to find her? Put an ad in every paper in the whole world. Maybe she already left Chicago and went to Africa. And you say in the paper, if you look like this, call Dominic McCosta at the city jail. I'll have a telephone put in my cell.
Dominic!
McCosta, somebody in this case is lying. I don't know, maybe one of the women on the plane had a reason for not wanting to admit that she picked you up. Maybe there is no such girl. I don't know. But I'll tell you this much. I'll do everything I can to find out before 2 o'clock tomorrow.
Can you break a 20?
Yeah.
Whatever happened to Laughing Boy?
Who?
The gasoline lover. No jokes, no story about a big romance, no...
I just talked to my wife and got terrible news. She understands me.
Poor girl. Well, I'm off. See you in a couple of days.
Hi.
I'd like you to look at this picture. You remember any customers who look like this?
There must be a million dames that look like that. When you find them, send me a dozen.
Then she doesn't look familiar?
Look, I never really look at their kissers. All I look at is their dough and their licenses. Sorry.
Thanks.
Okay, thank you.
Mr. Bentley?
Oh, how'd you make out?
No good. I'd like to ask you another favor.
Certainly.
Possibly one of you people might remember selling a ticket to this girl or checking her in on Monday night.
Is this the girl?
I understand it resembles her. Now, incidentally, that list you gave me, that's definitely all of the passengers on that flight, isn't it?
All but the crew. Now, we can take this picture and show it to...
The crew? The stewardess?
That's right.
How many were on that flight?
2.
Would you recognize this girl if she was a stewardess?
Well, I don't know. 200 or 300 fly in and out of here.
Well, who worked that flight Monday night?
I'll find out. Flight crew desk. Bentley. I'd like to have the names of the stewardesses on 7/10, the 21st. They can look that up in the schedule book. Yeah, Joe. Oh, just a minute. Nora Lindell, Jane Morgan. Do you know them? Well, what do they look like? Oh, tall blonde, eh? He doesn't know the Morgan girl, but he's asking some of the other men in the dispatch room. Yeah, Joe. Medium height, pretty, brown hair.
That could be the girl.
Oh, I beg your pardon, Joe. What did you say? Flight 718 this morning? Thanks. Well, let's take a look at the Morgan girl's picture. And we've got to hurry. She's on a flight leaving for Chicago at 10:15.
United Flight 718, City of Chicago, now departing from Gate 24. United Flight 718, the City of Chicago, now departing from Gate 24.
United 718, request taxi clearance. Over.
United 718, cleared for taxi to runway 25 left.
United Flight 718, City of Chicago, now departing from Gate 24. United Flight 718, the City of Chicago, now departing from Gate 24.
Well, that looks like the same girl. Can I talk to her?
Well, I'll see when she's due back.
Well, can we get her before she leaves?
Oh, I doubt it. Ramp supervisor. Oh, is 718 cleared yet? Oh, thank you. It's left the ramp, but it's still on the field.
The McCosters go on trial this afternoon. Without that girl, they don't stand a chance of an acquittal.
Ramp supervisor. I don't know if we can catch it. Oh, this is Bentley. Will you please request the control tower for permission to return 718 to the ramp? Emergency request by the public defender.
Thanks. Now, when every second is important, you learn how complex an operation a large airline is. How many people it takes to get a plane into the sky. And, in this case, how many people it takes to try to keep one on the ground. That plane take off. And as it left the airport, I saw our chances for an acquittal going with it.
United 718, this is L.A. Tower. Company requests you return to field immediately.
Bentley. Thanks. Well, we made it.
Now, let's hope she's the right girl.
Well, if she is, I'll get a reserve stewardess to make the trip.
When confronted by Jane Morgan and the true story of car number 5, Sparky quickly lost his smart aleck attitude and confessed.
That's her. That's the girl, Mr. Matthews. It's her.
Yes, Mr. Matthews. He's the one I picked up.
Oh, thank you, Mr. Matthews. Oh, Dominic. Oh.
They're too busy to thank you, so I'll do it for them.
You're very welcome.
As a result of the identification by Miss Morgan, Dominic and Maria McCosta were released. Under police questioning, Sparky Albright confessed to driving the hit-and-run car. He was sent to prison. Oh, yes, I almost forgot. Maria's baby is named Christopher Matthews McCosta. Now, the case you have just seen was brought to a fair and just conclusion through the efforts of a public defender. Tonight, Revlon salutes public defender Gerald W. Getty, Cook County, Chicago, Illinois, and his staff for outstanding achievement in the cause of justice.
You stay here, young lady, and drink your milk.
Eddie, they're here. Special delivery.
Oh, boy, have I been waiting for these. Eddie Jr.'s first shoes.
Oh,
They look like gold.
Well, they're bronze, Tommy, but this way they'll last forever.
What are you going to do with him?
Well, what do you think, kiddo? I'm going to hang him up in my car for luck. Your old man's not so old he can't be like them hot rodders.
Doctor.
Your husband's going to be all right, Mrs. McGowan. There's no question now.
Oh, are you sure? Are you?
But of course, these compound pelvic fractures respond slowly. They take time. Time and plenty of care.
Oh, I will take care of him, Doctor.
I'm sure of that. You must understand it'll be some time before he'll be able to walk again. He'll be in a wheelchair.
A wheelchair? Oh, no. Not my Eddie. You should be happy today. After 5 weeks, you're back with your family again.
Where you can wait on me hand and foot.
Where we can wait on you hand and foot because we love you. And we want to help you get well.
Help? The man you married didn't need help. He could take care of you, himself, and 30 kids to boot.
Well, and you will again. Soon.
Soon enough, I suppose. But you said yourself the money was all gone.
We'll have money because, well, tomorrow I start looking for work.
You go to work?
Well, we'll just be exchanging jobs. While you stay home watching the children, I'll take over your job. And your little wife becomes, how do you say, the breadwinner.
No.
Oh, Eddie, but it won't be for good.
You work. What can you do?
Oh, when we first met in the old country, you were a GI, remember? Well, what was I doing then?
I know, but that was different. That was war work.
All right, so that was war work. But before that, like millions of others in Europe, I started working in factories when I was 12. Aren't you happy with your GI bride? Now, Eddie, remember what the doctor said about the lamp. It helps, so you be sure to use it.
$64, it should help.
Whatever it costs, it helps. And we didn't pay it all at once.
That money should have gone for clothes for the kids.
Oh, they're doing fine, Eddie. We all are.
Hey, it's 1:15. You'll miss your bus.
That's all we need. Come late and Mr. Jason will deduct from my check.
A couple more weeks, we can both tell Jason to go jump.
A public defender is an attorney employed by the community and responsible for giving legal aid without cost to any person who seeks it and is financially unable to employ private counsel. It is his duty to defend those accused of crime until the issue is decided in a court of law. The first public defender's office in the United States was opened in January 1913. Over the years, other offices were opened. And today, that handful has grown to a network of lawyers cooperating to protect the rights of our clients. There's another side to the public defender's work. Petty claims, hundreds every day, and often so bewildering to the people involved it can lead to serious crime. Just as his name implies, Big Eddie McGowan was a big man who worked on the high steel, who took 1,000 chances and never thought anything of it. There seemed nothing Eddie couldn't do. He bulged with muscle and with health for 32 years. Never a sick day in his life.
Hi, Eddie. How'd it go?
Goes good, Jono. I'm sure glad this day's over.
Yeah, me too. Hey, stop off with me and I'll buy a beer.
Thanks. That's one you owe me. I've only got another 25 minutes to get some shopping done.
More presents for Greta and the girl?
Not this time. Getting some stuff for Eddie Jr.
Yeah? What kind?
You know, the kind of stuff that any American boy should have. Especially mine.
Mommy! Daddy's home.
Well, you go out and meet him, Kathy, will you? I'll be right out.
Hi, Daddy.
Hi, young lady.
What have you got there?
Got a few things for your brother. Where's your mother?
Hello, darling. Eddie, what did you buy out now?
You know that sporting goods store across the new building?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, they got a big sale on. 50% off.
Well, what is it?
It's a catcher's mitt. Baseball glove.
And you think Eddie Jr. knows how to use it?
Prize fighters train on these things.
Oh, Ed. Well,
Where is the young man? Doesn't he want his presents?
he's in his room. Just had a bath. But I'll get him for you.
Go on, slugger. Hey, remember what your old man told you? Thumb on the outside. Ah, that's good. Well, hiya, big guy.
Here we are.
Whoa! There's my baby. Hiya, honey. Hiya, honey.
Oh, Eddie, you are the biggest, most wonderful fool a boy ever could have for a father. And we love you for it. All right. Bye.
Just a minute, Mrs. McGowan. This came for you yesterday afternoon, just after you left.
A garnishment, Mr. Jason? What does it mean?
It means you don't pay your bills. Your paycheck's been attached. That's what it means. And I don't like it.
We don't pay our bills. Oh, no, sir. I telephoned everybody after Eddie was hurt, and I told him...
I haven't time for excuses. Get this thing fixed up, or else.
No telling what might have happened if a fellow worker hadn't told Greta of her rights and about the public defender. In spite of her deep-seated mistrust of anything to do with the law, despite her own panic and confusion, Greta joined the dozens of others sitting, waiting to tell problems equally as alarming to an understanding deputy. 3 times as many each year come to the public defender because of civil suits as come because of some crime. It was my good fortune to get the McGowan case. And it was in my office that I first met Greta and heard her story.
What do you want me to do now, Mr. Matthews?
Go back to work. And once we've checked the obligations you've given me and the other information, I don't think we'll have any trouble getting a court order releasing your check because of hardship.
Please, Mr. Matthews, you'll find out I tell you the truth. The day after Eddie has his accident, I call everyone. I tell them we pay. Pay slow, maybe, but we pay. And then this.
Whatever you do, don't worry. I will go to work at once, and you'll be hearing from us. Well, tomorrow morning, if everything goes all right.
Mr. Matthews.
I haven't seen a woman that frightened since my first year on the bench, Bart. That was a long time ago, wasn't it? You know, I'm sure glad that you came with us when you retired, Judge.
Thanks. Never mind me. What about that poor soul?
Oh, a couple of kids. Husband had a bad auto accident, can't work. She took a job to help pay the bills, and boom, someone slaps an attachment on her paycheck.
Can I help?
You sure can. Go over these bills, will you? They're the usual things. And if what she says is true, get Judge Bowen to sign a court order releasing her check.
Mm-hmm.
And do it fast, will you, Judge, before it's too late? I'd like to see Mr. Jason, please.
I'm Leo Jason. Is there anything I can do for you?
Well, I'd like to see Mrs. McGowan for just a minute, if it's all right with you, sir.
Mrs. McGowan doesn't work here anymore.
Oh, something wrong?
Plenty wrong. I can't give jobs to people who can't pay their bills. I don't hire deadbeats.
I see. I suppose you took the time to find out why she owes the few dollars she does?
I'm not running a kindergarten here. I pay my bills without making any excuses. Hard cash on the barrelhead.
But being in business, if you happen to run a little bit short, there's a bank to tide you over.
A bank? I have 3 banks. I've got credit because I pay my bills.
Mr. Jason, fortunately, there are very few narrow-minded bigots like you in business. Men who create the little situations, situations which can turn into the big situations. Situations which keep me and my staff working day and night.
Keep you working? Say, who are you anyway, talking so big?
The public defender of this county, Mr. Jason. Mrs. McGowan's attorney. Now, here's an order from the court releasing her check. And if I were in your place, Mr. Jason, I'd turn it over fast. Because I might lose my temper. Hello. I'm looking for a Mrs. McGowan. Do you know where she lives?
Oh, that's my mommy. I'm Kathy McGowan.
Well, I'm pleased to meet you, Kathy. Is your mom at home?
Oh, no. She won't be home for hours and hours. She works, you know.
Oh, I didn't know. Do you know where she's working?
Same place she's worked since Daddy came home from the hospital.
The same place? Do you know the name of the company where she works?
Uh-huh. The Jason Electric Company.
Thank you, Kathy. By what little Kathy had told me. I wondered why Mrs. McGowan had not told her family the truth.
So I decided to come back and see Greta alone.
It's almost bus time, baby. Old man Jason will dock you if you're late, you know.
I'd like to see him try.
Is there anything wrong with you the last few days or something?
Why, no. Nothing. Eddie, I left the baby in the playpen, and there's some soup I made. I put it in the icebox. Well, I'll see you tonight.
What's wrong with Mommy? She never left without kissing us before.
Please, Mr. Matthews, I can't tell my husband. He mustn't know I was let go.
But what do you do with your time all day? Where do you go?
Where? Out looking for another job. Where else would I go?
Have you found any?
Found? Yes. 3 places I could have worked. And then, when they asked for references and called Mr. Jason, well...
Is that your husband watching us?
Would he have seen us? No, but am I going to tell him?
That's what you should have told him before, the truth. Now, here's the court order and the check. Now, you go on inside and tell him exactly what happened.
No, I can't, Mr. Matthews. I just can't.
Well, if you can't, with your permission, I can. Now, come on, Mrs. McGowan. The sooner, the better.
I ought to go down and clean all of them out.
Oh, Eddie, please. I'll find something else.
Just once. That's all I want, just one crack at them.
I know how you feel right now. But as your wife said, it's all over. And besides, she will find something else, something better.
Fat chance with Jason lying about us.
Oh, I don't know. It could be that I might find someone who won't care what Jason says or does.
Don't bother, Matthews. We aren't taking charity yet.
Believe me, I didn't suggest it as charity.
No. Thanks just the same. You've done enough for us already.
Well, if there's anything I can do, anything at all, you know where to reach me.
Mr. Matthews, even if I knew the proper words, well, never could I thank you enough. Never.
Remember anything at all.
Where do you think you're going?
Well, out the same place I went before. Out to look for another job.
Well, you've known me long enough to know that I don't go around asking favors.
Just name it, Bart, and if it isn't impossible, you're in.
Well, it's a job, Earl, a real hardship case. A woman with a couple of youngsters, a husband who can't work, and a line of creditors halfway around the block.
Oh? Any experience in our line?
Yeah, some. She was just fired by Jason because someone wouldn't wait and slapped an attachment on her paycheck.
Leo Jason let a woman go for that?
Oh, that's right. How do you know Jason?
Know him. Practically started him in business. Still furnishes us around 50 or 60,000 in small parts a year.
Oh, well, in that case, maybe you won't want to give Mrs. McGowan a job. Might be a little embarrassing.
Don't worry about that. You tell your Mrs. McGowan to be here tomorrow morning at 9.